As we hit 4 o'clock, we are following two big stories today. There are new federal charges against the suspect who killed 5 people at a Colorado Springs LGBTQ club. We're also talking about the warm-up that we've been waiting for. The worst of the polar vortex now behind us. Temperatures climbing above freezing. We're going to get to more on that forecast coming up in just a moment. We start, though, with the new charges in the Club Q shooting. The Associated Press reporting the shooter, who killed 5 people, has been charged with 50 counts of federal hate crimes.
Anderson Aldrich pleaded guilty last June in state court to murder and attempted murder. Crime and Justice reporter Kelly Rinke just spoke to one of the survivors who says he's disappointed with this news, Kelly.
Yeah, guys, he says the life in prison sentence for the shooter was enough for him. Ed Sanders, who was shot twice at Club Q, says he initially supported federal charges, hoping for the death penalty. He changed his mind, though, after learning it's rare for federal authorities to pursue that. Sanders says he got a heads up about these federal charges a few weeks ago. The court clerk's office told me charges were filed on January 5th. The shooter was scheduled for a first appearance in federal court in Denver at 2 this afternoon. The AP says they pleaded not guilty. Last June, a judge sentenced the shooter to 5 life sentences. Sanders is disappointed survivors will have to relive this nightmare in court.
Kind of, at this point, we thought it was over and that he would rot in state prison. But bringing the federal charges just opens it all up again.
The federal charges follow an FBI investigation into this shooting. Kim.
When you talk about this, obviously not every survivor feels they're not always on the same page, so to speak. But they did avoid a court case with the plea agreement. And then when you talk about the death penalty, it's pretty rare.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though Colorado did away with the death penalty, it's still an option on the federal level. But for survivors, the thought of having to relive that night in a court system, something they were able to avoid at the state level, is something that is unnerving and just really unsettling for some of them.
And it would be a distance for them to travel, too.
Yeah, Colorado Springs, the federal court system is here in Denver.
Yeah, it's all things to think about. And you hear those charges, and initially, I think if you're not close to it, you're like, oh, this is great.
Impacts quite a few people.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kelly.
Now, as we said, we turn back to the weather. The mess in the mountains, that actually looks like it's moving pretty well compared to the way things have been the last few days. This is a live look along I-70 near Georgetown. The sun is out, the temperatures are climbing, and cars are moving again, at least in some areas.
Yeah, lots of sunshine, lots of melting. It's great. You have washed your fluid. We spent 86 hours below freezing, and we saved the worst until the end because temps in Denver dropped to 19 below this morning. Hopefully you didn't get up for that. It was Denver's coldest January temperature since 1963. Things, though, have improved considerably. Look at Corey Ruppenhagen. He's outside. He doesn't have the heavy jacket. You don't have the scarf, the gloves. It's okay.
It feels a lot different than it has out here in the 9 News backyard than the last few days. We made it up to 37 today, so that is 56 degrees warmer than it was at early this morning at about 1 a.m. when we hit negative 19. That is actually the 10th biggest one-day temperature swing in Denver history. So if you like extreme weather, we've had a lot to talk about, and that also broke the streak that you were just talking about there. And officially, it's 93 straight hours because we use Denver International Airport as our official weather station. The last time it was above freezing in Denver or at DIA was at 3:45 on Friday afternoon. So here's your forecast going through the night here. You see the temperature not dipping down, not quite the roller coaster that we've been seeing, probably bottom out in the middle teens there. They just closed the lifts down at Aspen Snowmass. What a great day it was. Here is what we're tracking coming up in the weather forecast here. We've got high winds coming up tomorrow in the mountains and the foothills as our next winter storm moves in already. 1 to 2 feet more snow possible in some parts of the mountains. And yeah, we could get back into the single digits down here in Denver by Friday morning.
Thanks, Corey. It is day 3 of just a travel mess in the high country. Look at that picture. Live look from CDOT along I-70 between Silverthorne and the tunnels. It's the slow crawl somewhere home, maybe. It's been a parking lot for much of the day. Many people still trying to get home, trying to get somewhere after a long holiday weekend. That traffic started early because this is what it looked like at the tunnels about 10:30 this morning. People still saying, oh, maybe I can beat the traffic if I leave early. No, massive line of cars looking to head east. It's taken drivers hours to get back to Denver. Not that they didn't know that, because this has been coming on for a couple of days.
But at some point, you got to make the move.
Some point you say, it's my time to sit on the road. People in Winter Park and Grand County are still having to take a major detour to get around Berthoud Pass after Sunday's avalanche buried cars. They've been going through Kremling and down to Silverthorne.
That is a long way around. CDOT hopes to open Berthoud Pass sometime today, still trying to clear the snow and reduce the avalanche risk there. But that didn't stop some people from trying to make the trip anyway. And 9 News reporter Jeremy Hahola spoke with some of them.
The sign says road closed.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing any skiing today.
But it might as well say bummer.
Coming up here to go skiing at Winter Park, my favorite place.
Larry Beal drove up from Littleton, hoping for an opening to Winter Park, but he gets it.
I mean, clearly it's high winds.
CDOT shut down US 40 for more than 48 hours as the harsh winter conditions caused avalanche risk and a few snowslides.
I believe in you, Subaru.
Over the weekend, an avalanche buried 10 vehicles near the pass.
All of a sudden he goes, avalanche. And we just look up and we see all of this snow coming down towards us.
You're talking about one of the steepest pieces of the Continental Divide that we actually have a road attempt to cross.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt as CDOT sent out crews to deal with more snow slides that hit the road.
And really, it was the intensity of the conditions that we saw, there at Berthoud. I think for anyone who was out and about, we all know that it was a really intense, winter storm period that we just went through.
Larry wasn't the only one hoping for an opening. Others drove up and waited a bit with a wish they wouldn't have to make the 3-hour detour.
It's never been closed this long, so we thought maybe it'd open up today and then we'd be able to get through. Now we're just kind of playing it by ear.
Jim Mather actually drove through the pass this morning, coming from the other side within the closed boundary as he left a lodge.
It was a sweet ride. It was the only time in 50 years I've ever gone over the pass and been the only vehicle.
A major route shut down for good reason, even if it was a bit of a bummer.
Hopeful, but I think I'm gonna head home.
Yeah, does it look like
CDOT says they saw another snow slide late this afternoon, delaying any anticipated opening, but the agency says once again they hope to open up the highway maybe by the end of the day today. We'll see.
Careful what you wish for. All that snow and those high winds, that just makes for dangerous conditions like they talked about, especially in those steepest of places.
Yeah, very dangerous up there right now, but I love the optimism of people. I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to go check it out and see if I can get in.
Just in case if they open it for me.
Thursday is a good day. Okay.
Thanks, Jeremy. We turn now to the Aurora Police Department. They're getting a new interim chief. Today we learned that Art Acevedo is leaving after being the interim there for about a year.
Aurora Police says Chief Acevedo decided to go back to Texas with his family.
But I miss my kid. I miss my family, and I can't be without my boy, and I can't move him right now. So I got to get home to him because I want to be judged as a father.
Acevedo took over the role in December of 2022. He has taken over a department that had been under a lot of scrutiny following the death of Elijah McClain and other high-profile cases. He also led the implementation of the department's consent decree put in place to address use of force and interactions with people of color. An investigation into APD found racially biased policing, with officers repeatedly using excessive force. Acevedo's last day is next Monday. Interim Deputy Chief Heather Morris will be appointed as interim chief of police. An Aurora officer found not guilty in the death of Elijah McClain is leaving the department.
Nathan Woodyard was acquitted in November of reckless manslaughter. Woodyard was eligible to get his job back, along with $212,000 in back pay. He was on restricted duty, meaning he was not in uniform. It's not clear yet if he did get that back pay. Of course, there were two other Aurora officers that also stood trial in the death of Elijah McClain. One was acquitted, another was convicted. With the grounding of the Boeing MAX 9s and the bitter cold temperatures, delays continue out at DIA. Right now, according to FlightAware, nearly 500 delays out at the Denver airport, another 140 cancellations. Of course, most of those being United and Southwest flights. Since Friday, nearly 10,000 flights have been canceled nationwide. And in other travel news today, a federal judge has blocked JetBlue's purchase of Spirit Airlines. The ruling a major win for the Biden Justice Department, which had sued to stop the merger, alleging that it would drive up fares. JetBlue's proposed near $4 billion merger would have produced the country's 5th largest airlines.